Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Toon Dallas, and if you're new, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when the next tour drops. Alright guys, so right now we're starting off today's tour at 2nd and Lehigh in the 19133 section of North Philadelphia. This is located on the northeast corridor of North Philadelphia. Right in front of me is West Kensington. We're actually going to take a drive down 2nd Street, and I think I want to show you guys areas that have been gentrified a little bit, areas that might be a little bit nicer than I normally show you. I don't only want to highlight the negative locations. I want to show you guys some, nice little family-oriented neighborhoods. So we're going to take a little drive through the neighborhood called Northern Liberties today. And then we're gonna touch probably like the base of Fishtown. We'll go through Fishtown a little bit. As you can see, it's snowing, so please forgive me if I have my wipers on. I need them on in order for me to see. Also, I'm sorry if you guys hear like some ambient wind in the background. I have to have my heater on so the windows don't fog up. I'm just letting you know. This is our first snowfall of the year of 2020. Today is December 16th, 2020. And I've been waiting to utilize the real-time all-wheel drive in this vehicle. For those of you who don't know how all-wheel drive works in a front-wheel drive vehicle made by Honda, what it is when the front wheels lose traction, all 4 wheels kick in. So 9 times out of 10, I won't really lose traction. It's not enough snow, but we're supposed to get like a foot. I think maybe like a foot and a half. Somebody said 2 feet, but yeah, I don't think so. Maybe like a foot if we're lucky. Driving down the 2400 block of 2nd Street. On the right hand side, we have Engine 2 ladder, that's a fire station. I actually been in that fire station before. Took some youth on a trip there. It's a really nice facility for the guys who work there. Looks like a man cave, I guess, since they're there most of their days, you know what I mean? They need something to keep them occupied. Alright, we are currently on the 2300 block of 2nd Street, crossing over Dolphin. Once you cross over Dolphin, now we're on the 2200 block of 2nd Street. On the left hand side, we have Kitchen Express Chinese American food. That's been there as long as I've been a little kid. I remember being a little boy who couldn't reach the counter. And it's been there. It used to have different owners though. If you're from Philly and you're familiar with this neighborhood, then you remember Sonny. Sonny was an interesting Asian individual. Why I say he was interesting was because he was, I believe, Korean. I know they owned the Chinese store, but I believe he was Korean, right? And then his wife was Puerto Rican. And they had a child who was half Korean and half Puerto Rican. And since his wife was Puerto Rican, he used to speak not only his native language, English, his native language, and he used to speak Spanish. So yeah, he used to speak 3 languages. And then with the food, he used to put like Spanish seasonings in his food. So if you would order like chicken wings or something from him, they would use like a sazon, adobo, which are Spanish influenced seasonings, which is not your normal ingredients that Chinese stores would use, you know what I mean? We're on the 2100 block of 2nd Street. We're still in the West Kensington neighborhood. You guys know how we normally cover Kensington? That's like east. Well, this is called the West Kensington neighborhood. This neighborhood has been gentrified heavy within the last decade. That building on my right, they just made it. It was an empty lot connected to a warehouse. And they turned the lot into indoor parking and probably made lofts up top. Left hand side we have several auto body shops. On the right hand side we have new establishments. I beeped for that guy that was reversing. We're passing 2nd and Berks. 2nd and Berks, the 1800 block of 2nd Street. On snowy days, it's wiser to drive slow. Passing Two Stroke Fat Boys Garage They work on dirt bikes, four-wheelers, all off-road ATVs. There used to be a nice mom and pop shop on my left-hand side. You see that garage with the gate? There used to be an alarm shop. My pop was going to them since like the 90s. It was located around Brown, like 4th and Brown or something. And then I think in the mid-2000s, they moved right there. And I was sad to hear that most recently, within the last, I think, 3 years, they sold the property. So now I gotta go to other people for alarms. I think they retired because they were like in their 60s, 70s. That spot on my right, on 2nd and Cecil B. Moore, I think it was owned by Greeks, and it used to be called Haps. Now it's called Pasha's Halal Food, but it used to be called Haps. It used to be like a pretty good breakfast spot. This block right here on my right-hand side has a lot of residents from the Middle East. I think it's like this whole 4-block like square radius before Oxford. We're on 2nd and Oxford. We're about to pass Oxford. You see that brand new building on the right, and they wrote vulgar language on the brand new bricks? Yeah, it happens. El Greco, passing 2nd and Jefferson. Look at this church on my left-hand side. It's called St. Michael's Church, founded in 1831. Driving slow is helpful. It gives you reaction time in this type of weather, so you don't hydroplane. It's not good to tailgate people, especially in the snow or the rain. We're on 2nd and Master. The 1400 block of 2nd Street is the block we're currently on. When we cross over, we'll be on the 1300 block of North 2nd Street. It's a little Mexican restaurant on my right-hand side. Believe it or not, that's been there for probably like 8-9 years, and I've never eaten from there at all. This whole little, I don't know what you call it. What's this? Like an apartment? What's it? The luxury apartments. I was gonna say apartment complex. This whole luxury apartment on my right, that whole square block is brand new. And they have residents from all over the East Coast that just came over here to live there. This painting on my right-hand side, this mural, you see it with all the people? It's been there for quite some time. What's this, a conquistador or something? I forgot his name. I had read this once, but y'all see that statue with the horse right there? Yeah, that's been there for a while. They were supposed to move it, but they never did. Passing 2nd and Gerard, 2nd and Gerard Avenue. Driving over the trolley tracks. On the left-hand side, we have Acme and a plaza with like Family Dollar, wines and spirits, things of that nature. On the right-hand side, you see all that green installation? Brand new. This whole neighborhood right here, I would say 14 years ago was empty, desolate, abandoned. No businesses. There was probably this bell. You see this bell flooring on my right? You can usually tell the older buildings, they've been there for a while. But all the stuff on my left, all these little side street cafe benches, you see how they put the little light in and everything? None of this existed. It was a abandoned factory we passed on my left. I believe it was like, what was it? A wine place? It was some type of alcohol manufacturing company. Forgot the name of it. Passing Wildy Street or Wild Eye Street, and these right here on my left and my right, they're brand new businesses. You come through here on a warm summer night, the ambience is live. But mind you, 14, 15 years ago, I used to walk up this avenue all the time to go walk the 24th Street, 25th Street to go to college. And it was empty. 2nd and Laurel. All these little spots on my left, these little restaurants, these little shops, cafes. There's a bowling alley on my left, the Heritage on my right. All this is new. We're on Poplar. 2nd and Poplar. Since we're driving a stick shift vehicle, I'm gonna let it roll back so that you guys can see that artwork that's on my right hand side. You see that artwork? She looks pretty cool, right? It's pretty nice artwork. She has a soda and some chips. And no, it's not chips, it's actually French fries. And the French fries are dated 18, which means they probably painted that in the year 2018. A lot of these businesses on this block was here, but they weren't in service. Now, anything that looks modern was made recently. Passing the 800 block, now we're going to the 700 block. 700 block of 2nd Street. We're gonna make a right here. No matter of fact, let me go straight so I can show you guys my family's residence. Before all of this blew up, my pop has an aunt that she owned a property right here, and also a cousin that owned a property right here on my left-hand side on this block. They've been here for probably 30 plus years, since I was a little baby. I have a picture when I was like 1-2 years old, standing out front of this residence. On my left-hand side, this Christini spot used to be a fire station, fire department, but it got closed down. I don't know if they defunded it, and it went through 2 businesses. I think it was like a ATV spot, and now it's a bicycle shop. On my right-hand side, we got Blackbird Pizzeria, some of the best pizza in the city. We're passing Liberties Gateway on my left. That's like a little apartment, or I should say luxury apartment. That's what they call them around here, luxury apartment. And that's new too. Right in front of us, that's the I-95. We're on the 600 block of Hancock. Green and Hancock Street. Now look how tiny this block is right here. Look how tiny it is. But check out the residents. See how tiny this block is? We have Jersey tags, we have Connecticut tags, we have Delaware tags, we have, what's that? Rhode Island? Yeah, Rhode Island tags. I just went through 4 different tags. That means that they're all new residents to the area. You see this property in front of us? That yard and all that stuff, this big 3-story. Actually, I see somebody upstairs. I wonder if that's my pop's cousin. So if it's my pop's cousin, that makes it my 2nd cousin. But I used to be in this house when I was a kid. I used to actually store a car back there too, inside that lot. One of my first cars when I was a kid. My pop had it back there. And then this house right here, this little 2-story, that was another family member. They lived right next door to each other. But I used to be in this neighborhood before all the gentrification happened and all these things opened up. I used to come out here and hang out with the family. My pop used to have a good relationship with his aunt. We're on 2nd and Fairmount. Who knew when they had that house that right around the corner they would build a casino? There's a casino less than 2 minutes away from here. Probably less than a minute. I'm probably over-exaggerating. Make a left, make another left, and then make another left, and there's a casino. Philadelphia's first casino, the Sugar House. Wonder if the casino inflated the neighborhood's value. It had to, right? And then all of those businesses coming back, yep. Sent the property values to the roof. And we're right next to Spring Garden. This is prime real estate. To be next to Spring Garden is like, you know, when you're playing Monopoly, to be next to like a Broadway or Pennsylvania Avenue. To be next to like one of the high-end avenues. It costs money. We just passed American Street, 700 American Street. Again, another residential area of American. Passing Bodine Street. Bodine. We're gonna make a right here on 3rd Street, Fairmount and 3rd Street. In front of us was a block that I used to attend a lot of meetings for the Women's Revitalization Land Trust Committee. I used to be a part of that. We had an idea of like what property was gonna get assigned to what and what new developers were coming in. And yeah, they used to try to acquire land. That's why they were called the Land Trust Committee. I was fortunate though to be a part of that because I kind of learned a lot over the years. I learned a whole lot. We're on 3rd and Brown. That little cafe on my right hand side when I was in college, they used to host screenings at Wednesday night, I think like at 10 at night. It was like a little cafe right here on my right-hand side, right after the tent, the first sharpest right. They used to have like a theater screen, and everybody used to go there, have drinks and everything, and watch people's short films. So if you were a filmmaker, you can go there, show your little 6-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute film, whatever you shot, and everybody would critique it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, instead of like comedy night or poetry night, it was like film night, where all of the local filmmakers would go there and share their little work. I remember being there because we covered a show there when I was interning for the production company Backseat Conceptions. We're on 3rd and Poplar Street. 3rd and Poplar, the Northern Liberties section of Philadelphia. This park on my right is pretty beautiful. If you come throughout the daytime, on a warm day, or even on a chill day, like a chilly day, there's like 50 dogs. I'm telling you, you walk through this park on any given day, everybody's walking their dogs. It's like a dog-friendly park. On my left side, the majority of these establishments are brand new. Brand new, like brand spanking new, everything. All the amenities that anyone can ask for, these houses come equipped. Look at the ones on my right. Same thing. This one on my left, you guys can't see it, but if you start paying attention to the ones on my left, you'll see roof decks. Passing St. John Newman Way. An Impala on my left-hand side. You guys see that? Car enthusiast? A classic Impala. It's been there for like 10 years. Probably. Every time I drive by, I see that Impala. 3rd and George. We're on the 1000 block of 3rd Street. This house on my left-hand side is pretty beautiful. It has like a spiral staircase on the roof. Fantastic. Gives you a nice view of the skyline. But these houses are massive. Look at them. They're like behemoths. Enormous. Look at them. Right and left. And again, you can tell usually what's been around. Like these brick pointed ones on my left, the little teeny one and the 3-story one. You see how it's an older front? Those been in the neighborhood. You could tell that they're the original 1900 houses from back in the early 1900s. Now the ones on my right, like that gigantic condominium style one, yeah, that was just recently made. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's take this right. This is the Becker Building on my left, which was once a factory. Now it's lofts for rent. Care Realty. They're making, look at a new little garage right there, probably for more residents. But the factory on my left, look at all the brick pointing is clean. The windows are new. People that primarily live in this community, especially the new houses, they're like the new age college grads, the college grads. They come from like universities and whatnot, and I'm assuming they go for the mortgage. They go through the mortgage process, and they get into debt to live in Northern Liberties. The rent in this neighborhood, I would probably say at minimum $1,500 and up, and that's me being generous. I'm sure a lot of the new buildings, like they're $2,200 and up. Check out this Range Rover. I'm gonna make a right. There's a Tesla in front too, but we're gonna make a right. That was a 2-way, 1-lane street. Some of these streets are like that, like you gotta share the lane and then pull over. But look, you can actually see the roof deck right here again. This is that house we passed earlier. You see the roof deck with the spiral staircases? He got his Christmas tree next to the window. Yeah, I guess they're really comfortable whatever neighborhood they come from to leave their windows like wide open. Me, on the other hand, I would like a little bit of privacy, you know, some curtains maybe. We're passing the 1100 block of Galloway Street. Galloway. Now we're next to the 1100 block of Oriana Street. We're on George Street and Oriana. I'm gonna make a right on Oriana. The guy right here on my right hand side, you guys didn't see him, but he was smoking a cigarette on his 2nd floor balcony. staring at the snow. Isn't that cool? Yo, look at these third floor balconies. Yo, look at them. Look up, look up. You see them? Yeah, they put little Christmas decorations up there. Yo, that's pretty neat. Look at these houses on my left. They made those like 9 years ago. Because I remember when I first started college, like my second year in, I started doing recycling with my pickup truck, and I would come through this neighborhood to do pickups, and those houses were just being built. All right, let's make this left. All right, we're passing the Cambridge condos, luxury apartments, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. Sheesh. I'm gonna make this left, but I'm gonna gradually, slowly progress on the traffic because people don't really have, you know, responsive brakes in this weather. You end up just hydroplaning and sliding right into another car. This block right here, I have an interesting story. Let me see if I can sum it up. When I was young, I was like 13, my step-pop brought me here to help him do a clean out. Now this house on my right-hand side, you see these 2 brick-pointed houses right here next to the garage? These two on the right? The one on the right-hand side with the reef on the door, the gentleman sold for $250,000. Mind you, this is like in 2002, 2003. He sold it for like $250,000, right? Then he bought the house right directly next door to it for $150,000. So what's the profit? He pocketed, what, $100,000 just to move next door. He paid us because we had to move all his drums and all his equipment. You know, we were the movers basically, so we moved from one house to the next house. But he basically made $100,000 to move next door, and who knows what he bought that house for back in the day. He surely didn't buy it for $150,000. He probably bought it for 40, 50, 60K when his neighborhood wasn't worth as much. But he made a heck of a profit, moved next door, and that was in 2003. So we can imagine what property value is going for around here in 2020. This is easily a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 neighborhood, and it depends on the age of the home. Check them out. A lot of Christmas decorations, a lot of wreaths. House for rent. This house on my corner is beautiful too. There's one on my left that has a really nice wooden garage door. It has one heck of an entrance. It has like, wow, it's really nice. A lot of wood grain accent. Let's make a left here. Let's see if we could spend another little 9 minutes in the Northern Liberty section before I cross over to Fishtown. I'm sorry guys, I'm not gonna be able to get to each and every single detail of either of these sections today. I just wanted to take you guys out for a little hour spin while it was still snowing. I do want to also do a walking tour in the snow, but I have to wait until the snow stops because the snow will fall on the camera lens and it won't make it visible anymore. We're passing Oriana and Poplar Street. We're passing an abundant chiropractor building, which looked like it was rehabilitated and re-brick pointed. Look at these abstract poles. You see these poles with this metal welding? It's like welded nuts and bolts, and yeah, somebody did some type of welding project there. I guess they wanted to spicing up the neighborhood. These houses on my right, they just made this whole block. These houses on my left have private garages. You see them, how it's private entrances? Yeah. And on my right, let me tell you what this was. Again, on my right, these new buildings that they just made right here on this corner on 3rd and Poplar, it was a pet shop called Doggy Style Pets. It was an original building from back in the day in the 1900s, right? Guess what they did? Like 6-7 years ago, they sold the building. I guess they sold that whole square block, right? They sold the building, and guess where they moved Doggy Style Pets to? Take a guess. Right across the street. Look at it. Doggy Style Pets, and they built that Doggy Style Pets building from scratch right in front of us. This one right here, this is a pet shop. So you telling me that they must have made a profit to sell their building and move right across the street. Not only move across the street, but build a brand new building from scratch. So that goes to show you, investors will buy you out in a heartbeat, and it's up to you on where you want to move. And obviously some of these people must love this neighborhood enough to not move out of it. They just move across the street, or they move next door, you know? That's smart. These little steps, you see them? They'll have their own private staircases. 6 steps, a flight of 6 stairs. Let's allow this Jersey vehicle to park. A Chevy Spark. That's the good thing about having a small car in the city. You're able to park wherever you want. Now, if you try to drive my Dodge Polara and try to park, good luck. It's like a limousine. You will not find parking anywhere. That's the bad thing about it, other than it being a V8. It's a gas guzzler. We're passing American and Poplar Street. Look at this mural on my left-hand side. You see it with the fish? See it? That's the top of the building. And on my right, we got the rest of that first mural that we saw. You see it? The one with that weird-looking lady. Look at her. I really like that building, too. That building is for sale. We're on 2nd and Poplar. Now we're gonna cross over. We were here earlier. We're just crossing over 2nd Street. This is a little restaurant on my left-hand side. That's outdoor dining that you see there. Now, none of this outdoor dining was here before until everything started happening this year. So that avenue you just saw never had outdoor dining. Maybe it had a little bit. BS. One or two of those restaurants had a little bit of outdoor dining, but now everything is outdoor dining, and they're like pointing out like 6 feet into the street. So on Hancock and Poplar. You see this vehicle in front of us, car enthusiast? It's parked on New Market Street. That's not just any car. That's Jerry's Bar's car. You see it says Jerry's Bar on it? So Jerry's Bar is located around the corner, and he has about 3 or maybe 4 classics that are from the 60s and the 70s. And he puts his logo on them. You notice how he had his graphics that said Jerry's Bar with the address? And he parks them in this neighborhood. So when people drive in the neighborhood, they're gonna look at the car, right? Because it's a classic, most people do it. And they're gonna say the bar name, and then they can go visit it. So it's like posting billboards in the neighborhood. But they've been there for a long time. I wonder if he has them all registered, insured, inspected, and whatnot. We're passing Ellen and New Market Street. Look at that home on my right. A first floor garage, entrance, 2nd floor. The 2nd floor has an Oculus overlooking glass. Look at the clock that's on that building right there. You see the clock? I wonder if that's a functional clock. Wow. Metal fabrication and design. H&A Blacksmiths. You see Jerry's Bar? This is Jerry's Bar right here on my left-hand side. So that's the gentleman that has multiple classics in the neighborhood. Let me turn left here so you guys can see the bar. You see it? I think we're gonna start trying to make our way to Fishtown. Let's see if we can begin to make our way over there. Let me lower this heater too. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, we're gonna cross over. We're in the 900 block of 2nd Street. All right, let's cross over. They're giving us the opportunity to cross. Thank you, sir. All right, this Jersey car is parking right here with their cord. Hopefully they can fit. That looks like a tight fit, buddy. Let's see where your technique is at. He has the 16-inch Honda Core rims. Right now, those are very popular stock Honda Core rims, highly sought after and stolen very often. If that set gets sold right there, they'll sell it for like $600-700 because they're 16s. But they got those same rims in 19s and 20s. The 20-inch set of that same identical Honda stock rim sells in the black market for $1,200 easy. So that's why they would steal them. You know, I don't know if you guys paid attention, but a lot of Hondas in 2018, 2019, and 2020 were left on bricks. It was for those stock rims or similar stock rims just like that. You make a quick $800 to $1,200 off of someone else's rims. Shame, right? All right, in front of us we got that park. We're on the 200 block of Laurel. That's that park I was talking about with all the animals. You can go down that angle block or we can go straight, but we're gonna go straight. Look at all the Christmas decorations on my right. All these houses have heavy aluminum siding. A whole bunch. Look at the driveway right here with the Honda Passport right on the sidewalk. We have some guys over here walking and talking. Somebody throwing away their sofas. Everything looks like a winter wonderland, right? The city cleans up well when it snows. Yeah, make sure to turn on that notification bell because I'm gonna try to do a walking tour after the snow settles. I don't know if we're gonna get snow till tomorrow, but if we do, we are on the 1100 block of American Street. If we do get snow until tomorrow, when it settles, I'm gonna go for a walk and take you guys through a tour with the snow on the ground so y'all can see what it looks like. We just passed another bar, past a salon, and look at brand new homes, right? You guys are noticing a pattern about Northern Liberties, right? Many, many, many new buildings, which then equals new residents. All right, guys, so we did not cover all of the Northern Liberties section. Maybe on another day, we'll drop through Northern Liberties. Let me see if I can take you guys through some of Fishtown. We're not gonna do all of Fishtown today, guys, but we'll do some of Fishtown. I like to try to make these tours an hour long. Comment below if you guys think I should make one longer than an hour. Let me know your thoughts. If enough people like your comment of you wanting a more than an hour, I'll pin it. I'll pin it up. I'll put it at the top of the comments. And if enough people request it, I'll take you guys on longer than an hour trip. But right now, an hour seems to be the sweet spot, and it's easy to upload. It kind of takes me, to be honest, I upload these from my phone. It kind of takes me anywhere from, like, on a good day, an hour to upload it. On a bad day, the other day, it took me like 7-8 hours for an hour clip. So maybe doing them longer than an hour might not be too smart, especially if I'm uploading them from my phone. I think an hour keeps it manageable for the attention span. We're passing 2nd and Gerard. On my right hand side, we have Unleashed, Fine Wines and Spirits, Urgent Family Care, etc., etc. Passing Hancock and Gerard. We're gonna have to turn on the wipers, probably make them go a little faster because the snow is coming out heavy. You guys see that sock hand that's on my left hand side? That's the top of the building. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's on the left hand side, top screen. You see that sock? Well, that character is a Philadelphia street artist. I would call him a graffiti artist, but a lot of people feel some type of way when you call a street artist a graffiti artist. It's two different things. So yeah, I'm gonna call him a street artist. This is Gerard Street Station. Passing J.J. Mullins, Dollar Tree, 7-Eleven, a McDonald's, a Sherwin-Williams paint. That Sherwin-Williams wasn't there forever. They made it in the last decade. Passing the Wells Fargo Bank. As long as I can remember, that Wells Fargo Bank has been there. All right, on my left-hand side and on my right, you guys gonna see a lot of little businesses. They're not really active right now. And matter of fact, I can't even go down Frankford. The whole left side, if we would have went down Frankford, is completely gentrified. Frankford changed. Like this building on my right-hand side, this used to be the local supermarket. You see how it's called Filler Garage Company? I think it was called like Pentriti Supermarket or something. Comment below if you guys remember the name of that supermarket on my right-hand side. But yeah, now they're trying to make this like a ritzy area, like a go-to area for the young people. So if you come in warm weather, all these benches out here are filled. You see people crossing the street, all young people, probably in their 19s, 20s, and 30s. They made a little Joe's Steaks out here on the corner. In my opinion, I think they're trying to be like the local Pat Steaks, Geno Steaks of this area. Because Geno Steaks and Pat Steaks are far from here. It's like a good 15-20 minute drive depending on the traffic. It's in South Philly, and right now we're on the north side of the city, so I believe Joe's Steaks is trying to like be the neighborhood hit. If you would have went right, wow, sir, what are you doing? You almost fell and you almost got into, like, y'all saw that? Good thing I have brakes and I wasn't speeding. You see, guys, that's why it's important not to speed, because if not, we would have got his casualty on camera. That's not cool at all. All right, if we go right, we can definitely go into Fishtown a little bit deeper. I'm gonna try to take it down to probably like, what, Susquehanna or something. We got Marlborough Street, Gerard and Marlborough. Let's keep on going forward. There's a police station up here. I believe it's the 3rd police district. On my left-hand side is coming up. On my right-hand side, I remember having a cousin that he used to have a business, a little art studio, art shop right here on Gerard. They had a vape shop. On my right-hand side coming up too used to be Jay's Pedal Power, an old BMX and pretty much all-around bike shop in Philadelphia. We're on Earl Street, Gerard and Earl. But they closed down Jay's Pedal Power. I remember that's where I got my first expensive Harrow from. A Harrow bike, a Dave Mirra Harrow bike. It was really expensive when I was a kid, but you know, my pop looked out on the cookout. I had graduated middle school and he treated me to a $500 bicycle. That's when I was, what, middle school. I was probably, what, 13? Yeah, it was in 2002. So I had a brand new Dave Mirra bicycle. And then when I got old enough, I believe when I was like 19, 20, I went right back to Jay's Pedal Power and I bought a brand new Harrow once again. I always liked the Harrow. I always liked the H's. Anything with an H, Honda, Harrow, things of that nature. Because there's an H in my name, so I've always loved H's. All right, so we're on Montgomery Ave, Gerard and Montgomery Ave. We're actually driving on trolley tracks. As you can see on top of us, there's like a line. You see it? You see that line? That line connects to the trolley. Now the trolleys weren't running for a long time, but like within the last decade, they just put the trolleys back into service. They rehabilitated a couple trolley cars, and boom, there's a trolley station. Yeah, on my left-hand side, boom, that's the 3rd police district. No, BS, that's the 26th police district. I was completely wrong. I could admit when I'm wrong, guys. My bad. And guys, feel free to comment your memories below. If you guys have some valuable facts, some valuable information, some childhood memories, you got a good friend from the neighborhood, shout them out, man. Let's have a conversation about the neighborhood. See that guy right there in the middle of the street, leaning next to the fence? He's waiting for the, is it the trolley? Yeah, he's probably waiting for the trolley. I was gonna say the bus, but he's literally next to the trolley. These buildings on the right, they just made them. There used to be like little garages there. More luxury condos and homes. For sale, the one on my left-hand side. Leibovitz is the realty company. The one with the awning on my left-hand side, where the white truck is at, they're selling their house. So if anybody wants to move to this neighborhood, there you go. This is a pretty nice, quiet neighborhood. To be completely honest with you, if you guys want to know some like factual details on crime, as far as I know, there's no real crime that happens in this neighborhood as far as gun violence. It's mainly like, if there is any crime, it's like, you know, theft and vandalism, which is like, you know, breaking into cars. It's probably like a strong arm robbery or two, maybe a Grand Theft Auto, you know, with a weapon in possession. Nothing heavy. I'm sure there's drugs in this neighborhood, but you got to know someone that knows someone. They don't just stand on the corner and distribute product. This is primarily a Caucasian, or if you guys want to call it European, or if you want to call it ethnic white, because a lot of people correct me on how I title that ethnicity. So this is primarily an ethnic white neighborhood. This elementary school on my right is called Pentreaty Middle School. Is it Pentreaty Middle School? Yeah, it's middle school. I know a lot of local residents went to Penn Treaty. My buddy went to Penn Treaty. Shout out to Andy. Nilo and Andy. They like family. I grew up with them. Well, he went to Penn Treaty. And I think my wife's father went to Penn Treaty. I think her pop went to Penn Treaty too, I think. Earl Street. Now, I do want to make note that I did hear of stories of back in the day, unfortunately, there being somewhat of a race war between both sides of the avenue. We're on Thompson and Palmer. Now, don't hold me to these details. I wasn't old enough to be a part of the race war. When I started traveling this neighborhood, I think that was all, out the door, or if they were still into that type of stuff, they kept it, behind closed doors, so they didn't make it out in the public, out in the open. But you see these new houses on my left? Brand new. And we got Alexander Adair Public School on my right. But from what I heard, doggy had sneakers. You seen it had a sweater and some sneaks because she was walking the dog? That's pretty cool. Brand new houses on my left. I was told that, like, in the late 80s, probably the 70s, but mainly the late 80s and early 90s, if you were from the other side of Kensington, which is the other side of the train avenue, that runs under the blue line, if you were like Spanish or African American, or some people call them Asiatics, right? Or some people call them quote unquote black people, or Puerto Ricans or brown skin. If you were of color and you would cross over to this area, from what I heard, you would get chased out. That's what I heard. I don't know how factual that is, but maybe the original residents, the elders and the seniors who are watching this video can share a memory or two. Please don't be offended. I'm just sharing information that I was passed on when I was a kid. Yeah, I was told that, like, you would get chased back across to North Square Park, by a whole group of, like, ethnic whites, or it might have been vice versa. It might have been the Latins and the quote unquote black people from the opposite side of, Kensington were probably fighting over here. So I think there was a heavy separation, and it was only blocks away. It's less like, if you look at where Kensington, where the L is at from this neighborhood, it's literally blocks away. But if you go more left, you'll also hit more Fishtown. But like I said, guys, we're not going to be able to do all of Fishtown within an hour. We're on Marlboro and Belgrade. We can keep going straight and we'll hit Frankford, which has plenty of new buildings. Like, they completely changed Frankford up. But let's try to go through the small neighborhoods so you guys can just get a feel of the environment. This neighborhood sells for a pretty good dollar amount. Wow, there was a hidden stop sign right here. It was so tiny. It was like the cutest, smallest, shortest stop sign in the universe. But yeah, this neighborhood, it sells for a pretty good value, 100,000 plus. Now it's probably 252, because I remember I had a homie. He had the most intriguing name ever. It was one of my buddies from high school. You ready? You ready to hear his name? I'm sorry, homeboy. I doubt you're watching this, but his name was Nabras Muhammad Al-Mashadani. That was my buddy from high school. His pop was a doctor, and he lived in this neighborhood. And their house, I think, like in 04, 05, sold for like $260,000. And it was only a 2-story home. So for all I know, this neighborhood can also be a 300, 400, maybe upper $200,000 neighborhood. Look at this house on my right-hand side. You guys see the doorway? You see that gigantic, like, thing it has over the door? It's like white, some type of design. I don't even know what to call it. Some framework, but it was made out of like cement. We have an old school Debo bike. Rest in peace, Debo, on my left-hand side. We're on Belgrade and Palmer. There's a cemetery right here on my left-hand side, on Belgrade and Palmer. Isn't it interesting how, because of the movie Friday, because of Debo, rest in peace, because he was riding that old school Schwinn style bike, we're passing Earl Street, 1300 block of Earl. Since he was riding that bike, every time I see one of those bikes, I correlate it with a Debo bike. Like, even before he passed away, when we were kids growing up, if we would see somebody on that bike, we would be like, yo, look, he's on a Debo bike. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Memories. All right, we're on Belgrade and Montgomery. House for sale on my right-hand side. The other house on my right-hand side has wood front. You seen that? That was wood. Wow, it kind of looked like a log cabin, but it's a row home. You can tell which one's the new house on this block. You see it on the right? Look at the Christmas lights on my right. Yo, there used to be a block in this neighborhood. Yo, shout out to everybody from Philly watching. All my OG residents from Philly that know about this neighborhood, right? Which block was it that had all was it Trent Ave? There was a block that had a lot of decorations. It was like 2 or 3 houses. I remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, probably the late 90s. My pop used to take me to that block during the Christmas season. And I think only 2 or 3 residents of that block did exaggerated Christmas decorations. Like, they did the whole front, the whole shebang, the roof. Like, they did a heck of a job. But I don't remember which block. I think it was Trenton Ave, but I don't know. Don't hold me to it. This is the 1400 block of Houston Street. Houston. Okay, we're gonna make our right here. We're on Susquehanna and Belgrade. Susquehanna Avenue. You see we have a female and a gentleman on my left-hand side walking in a trench coat, the face mask, the skelly, the boots, the full winter gear. These people right here on my left still got pumpkins out, a little scarecrow. Look, this house on my left has icicles from the roof. You see it blinking? Has like Christmas lights, but they put them on the crown of the roof. We are passing Livingston. We now pass Almond Street. Lee's and Doreen's, or Les and Doreen's Happy Tap. It's a little bar. Oh wow, I remember this neighborhood. I used to come here. Wow. Actually, there's a senior citizen home coming up, I believe on my left-hand side. We are on Thompson and Susquehanna. It is a senior home that I did a project. I led a group project with, about 14, 15 youth. We went to the senior citizens home and we documented a project with another fellow colleague. She was from Singapore. We're on Moyer and Susquehanna Avenue. And to sum up the project, we went to the senior home. We interviewed a dozen seniors that were 70s, 80s, and 90s. They were really old. Please forgive me if any of you are in the age bracket. They were well aged, right? So I know we actually passed the senior home. Well, anyway, since we're talking about it, we did a project interviewing, a group of seniors and talked to them about technology and talked to them about basically the good old days before technology, right? So I had my youth. These were troubled youth that, were considered violent offenders, that were locked up, that got arrested, that got kicked out of school, that were pregnant, that were using substances, etc., etc. So I took this group of youth and created a partnership with that senior care center. And we had these teens. I basically led the project. I used to teach filmmaking also to middle schoolers and high schoolers at one point of life. So after teaching them the fundamentals, I had, all the students used their strengths, playing different roles in order to make the documentary come to life. The project was called The Good Old Days. That's what we titled it. What the project consisted of is comparing and contrasting how it was back in the day to how kids are living now. So we had the kids, whether they wanted to operate the camera, we had camera A, camera B, and we had a photographer. So camera A, camera B captured moving visuals. Camera C was the photography that captured the behind the scenes, the photographer. We had a student do the writing, write the questions. If they were a writer, they would write the questions. If they were an artist, I would have them do the storyboarding. If they weren't, hands-on and they didn't want to be, in front of the camera, they can be the microphone operator, the boom mic operator. If they were really friendly and liked being on camera, we would have them be the interviewer, etc., etc. So we had them play all different roles, right? So the thing that I remember that stood out most, we had completed the project. We had an awesome time. The seniors had an awesome time. This was over, a couple weeks. After completing a project, each student, when they completed the program, received a DVD and a certification of completion, right? They got the DVD. We had a ceremony for all the seniors, and it's kind of, warming up my heart now to think about it. But one of the females, she was probably like in her 80s, and she was awesome, a really awesome spirit. She was funny too, like in the documentary. Like some of these answers that these old people or these seniors or these, see, welcome to Fishtown. You see that park on my right hand side? Welcome to Fishtown. This is their local park on Palmer and Moyer. So these seniors had the most priceless answers ever. We handed them a cell phone. We just was like giving them technology and see what they think about it. Anyway, the ceremony went awesome. The kids loved it. The parents loved it. The neighbors in the community were invited out. The families of the seniors were invited out, etc., etc. What broke my heart was we did the ceremony on a Friday, right? On Monday, I got a phone call that female, the main one that I was talking about, that she was in her 80s, she passed away. Bone chilling. That was bone chilling. Look, he's shoveling his driveway. Yeah, that was bone chilling. I explained to you why. We're passing Willig Ave, and that's no outlet. You see these two dogs? Cool dogs. What was most, I guess, nerve-wracking, eerie, just strange about it was like, we just literally got finished filming her. We just saw her full of life. Like, she was at the ceremony. We handed her a DVD. Everybody applauded for her. Everybody congratulated and laughed at her story, because, she was funny. She had a good spirit. And she passed away, man. Like, that hurt me big time. That, like, ripped me open, because I've captured a lot of people on film who shortly after pass away. We're on Palmer and Memphis. So if you've never experienced that, it's like, just shaking someone's hand and then 10 minutes later they leave, you find out something happens to them. Yeah, man, like, oh, that was hard for me to like engulf and take in and stomach. Like, I was blue for like a week, and she wasn't related to me. I didn't know her. She was an older ethnic white female. She was like, probably somebody's great grandmom and everything, but I felt like, a bond with her, because, I was overseeing the editing. I was doing the final edits, when remember, I would use the kids based on their strengths. Some kids would do the primary edits, but I would make sure to clean up. I would do the executive edit, make sure it was, acceptable. Oh, look at the kids playing in the park with all the snow. And they got a cool dog. They got like a golden retriever who's running in the snow. That's awesome, y'all. Beautiful little park here. It's always been beautiful for many years. But that's a hard story to stomach, man. Rest in peace, man. I never had grandparents in my life, and she would have been the most awesome grandparent ever. I don't know how people can all right, I understand sometimes people put them in senior homes because they can't take care of themselves anymore, and then the kids and the grandkids are too busy to take care of them. Look at Philly style bagels on my left hand side. It's a little restaurant / cafe. But I understand sometimes why people put their folks in a senior home, because maybe they might be overwhelmed, they might have kids, they might not have space or the residence or the facility or the financial means to take care of them anymore. But when I used to go to that senior home, I used to see a whole bunch of cool old guys and a whole bunch of cool old ladies. And I don't know how many visitors they got but us. It's Burns Funeral Home on the right-hand side. Go figure, how ironic considering the subject matter we're talking about. Look at this tiny little vehicle on my left-hand side. Look at it in front of the little orange barrier. This is the smallest vehicle in a lifetime. And it's a pickup truck. I thought a smart cart was tiny. I think this thing takes the cake. Yeah, guys, that thing touched my heart just even thinking about it. Because I ain't really had grandparents. So low-key, between me and y'all, when I used to go with the kids, I don't have kids either, for those of you guys who are wondering. So I enjoy, at the time of my career when I was working with youth, it was a cool experience. So I enjoyed working with the youth, and I enjoyed being around the adults, and I think I enjoyed hearing their stories more than the kids. passing the 400 block of, what's this? Livingston. Yeah, guys, we must value life and we must value the people around us. If you have a family member next to you, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. We're on Thompson and Columbia. Have some new establishments on my left-hand side. Somebody coming out with a shovel. See that yellow? They got a bubble jacket. They're gonna shovel the front of their house. This is Sheba. I think Sheba Church on my right-hand side. Oh wow, that isn't a Sheba. That's the senior home. Wow, that's the senior home that I was just talking about. Holy smokes. Wow, I haven't been there in like, let me see, 4, 5, no, BS, like 6 years. I think that was the senior home. Wow. I'm sorry, like, I just went off on a tangent, but part of me document this, I think, has to do with freezing memories in history. Let's cross over. As I got older, I started to understand the value of life. Let me lower this. I started to understand the value of life and how important life was, because it was taken away from me at every turn I got, at every chance I got to get close to somebody. It was taken away. All the people that were close to me that actually reached out to me are now in a grave, a shallow grave. So I'm very fortunate. You know, I don't know how you would call somebody fortunate to experience that, but I think it put me a step ahead of the curve. It allowed me to appreciate the basic things in life, like the air that I breathe, the neighborhood that I live in. We have a building called the Candy Factory on my left-hand side. You know, it's interesting because we have some people in America that watch these videos. We're passing George Street. They watch these videos and they must come from, I don't know, they probably have acres around their homes, suburban communities. I don't know if they're mansions. I don't know if they're in townhomes. I don't know what they're living in. But they say stuff like, I would never raise my family in that community. What a horrible place. What a horrible, trashy hellhole. Right? But then, like, I'll get a comment from somebody in Afghanistan that might say, oh, beautiful country, beautiful country. I would love to come visit Philadelphia. I would love to come visit Baltimore, right? What does that tell you? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Don't judge the book by the cover, right? You see this environment that everyone says they would not raise their children. No, I would not raise my child in that environment. I don't think I came out that bad. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect. I have flaws, but the key to growth is understanding your flaws and understanding when you're wrong. It's important. It's an important trait to have that not many people have. Not many people can self-reflect and put their ego to the side and just step out of their body, look at yourself, look at the surroundings, and absorb the moment. I'm very grateful. Right in front of us, guys, we have Philadelphia's Penn Treaty Park. Is right next to the Delaware River. They actually just built a whole strip of townhome houses next to it. I will go through it, but it's closed. And you can't really drive through the park. You can only get through the entrance, and I'm assuming that it's closed right now. So right now, I believe we are on Delaware Avenue. If you go to Delaware Avenue, you'll see the casino on my left-hand side. This is the casino that I was talking about. For all you guys who enjoy gambling, if you have trouble gambling, or if you have an addiction to gambling, feel free to call somebody, call a friend to talk to. I don't know, call a specialist, call a hotline. I've never been into that myself, but I hear stories about people becoming engulfed in that lifestyle. But if you like to casually do it once a year, twice a year, feel free to stop by sometime. If you're in the East Coast, you might get lucky. Go figure. I must have let go of the clutch. I got too comfortable. Driving a stick shift vehicle, guys. So if you let go of the clutch, it stalls out. And this car is so modern that I barely even felt it stall out. It still felt like it was on. Oh man. On the right hand side we got Children's Crisis Center. It's a tall building, and a 7-Eleven. And then on the bottom we have a bunch of little offices. And we actually passed Telemundo. Telemundo TV station is in this neighborhood. But that will conclude our small tour of the Northern Liberties and Fishtown neighborhood, guys. We did not cover all of the sections today. However, you know, in the future, if you ever want to check out more of this neighborhood, you're more than welcome to visit the channel. I might touch base on it in the future when it's not snowing. With that being said, please hit that thumbs up button. It'll go a long way. I don't ask you guys to make a financial donation, but I do ask you if you could just donate a comment after this video finishes. Share it if you would like. I would really appreciate it. One last cool fact about this building in front of us. This is called the Fillmore. It was once abandoned. Now it's a performing theater where many Hollywood artists, A-list artists, come here and perform. Hip-hop, pop, rock, country, etc. All right, guys, we're gonna close out. This is tuning out. Everyone, have a blessed day. Goodbye.